Does the brain generate the consciousness, or does the consciousness operate the brain?
Imagine unlocking the secrets of your own mind. Stay tuned as we unravel the ultimate mystery of consciousness. Consciousness is what makes us feel alive and aware. It's the feeling of experiencing the world around us, the redness of a sunset, the sweetness of chocolate, the warmth of a hug. It's everything we think and feel, every memory and dream. Understanding consciousness is arguably the biggest mystery facing science today. We know a lot about the brain, but how does a physical organ give rise to subjective experiences? This question has puzzled philosophers and scientists for centuries, and there's no easy answer. However, exploring different theories about consciousness can help us understand this fundamental aspect of what it means to be human. Philosopher David Chalmers calls the mystery of consciousness the hard problem. It's hard because it's different from other scientific puzzles. We can explain how the heart pumps blood or how gravity works by studying the physical processes involved. But explaining how brains create feelings and experiences is much trickier. Imagine a scientist who has never experienced color. They might know everything about the physics and biology of color vision, how light waves hit the retina, how signals are processed in the brain, but they could still miss understanding what it's actually like to see red. This subjective experience is the hard part of consciousness. Matter over mind, the materialist view. Materialism is a theory that says consciousness is just a product of the brain. According to this view, our thoughts, emotions, and even our sense of self are all the result of physical processes happening within the brain. This perspective has been influential in the fields of neuroscience and psychology, where researchers strive to understand the brain's complex workings. It argues that everything in the universe, including our thoughts and feelings, can be explained by physical processes. This means that every mental state corresponds to a particular state of the brain. For instance, when you feel happy, there are specific patterns of neural activity that can be observed. This idea has led to the development of technologies like brain imaging, which allow scientists to see which parts of the brain are active during different mental states. Think of a computer. It processes information and produces outputs. In a similar way, the brain takes in information from the senses, processes it, and then produces thoughts, emotions, and actions. Just as a computer uses circuits to process data, the brain uses neurons. These neurons communicate with each other through electrical and chemical signals, creating a vast network of connections. Materialists believe the brain works similarly, with neurons firing like tiny circuits to create our experiences. Each neuron can be thought of as a tiny processor, and the brain as a whole is like a supercomputer. This analogy helps to explain how complex mental processes can arise from the interactions of many simple units. However, the brain is far more complex than any computer we have built, with billions of neurons and trillions of connections. This view is attractive because it's simple and fits with our scientific understanding of the world. It provides a framework for studying the brain and developing treatments for mental illnesses. By understanding the physical basis of mental states, scientists can develop drugs and therapies that target specific neural processes. This has led to significant advances in medicine and has improved the lives of many people. However, it struggles to explain how physical matter can give rise to subjective feelings. This is known as the hard problem of consciousness. While we can observe the brain's activity and correlate it with mental states, we still don't understand how these physical processes translate into the experience of being. For example, why does a particular pattern of neural activity feel like happiness or sadness? This question remains one of the biggest mysteries in science. How can a bunch of neurons firing create the feeling of joy or the taste of chocolate? These experiences are rich and subjective, and they seem to be more than just the sum of their parts. When you taste chocolate, it's not just a series of chemical reactions in your mouth, it's a complex experience that involves memory, emotion, and sensation. This richness of experience is something that materialism has a hard time accounting for. Materialism doesn't offer a clear answer to this question. While it provides a useful framework for studying the brain, it leaves many questions about the nature of consciousness unanswered. This has led some philosophers and scientists to explore alternative theories, such as dualism or panpsychism, which suggests that consciousness might be a fundamental aspect of the universe, not just a byproduct of physical processes. The debate continues, and the mystery of consciousness remains one of the most intriguing challenges in science and philosophy. The two worlds. Exploring dualism. The concept of dualism has intrigued philosophers, scientists, and thinkers for centuries. It delves into the profound question of what constitutes our reality. Are we merely physical beings, or is there an immaterial aspect to our existence that transcends the physical realm? This exploration takes us on a journey through the intricate relationship between the mind and the body, two entities that dualism posits as fundamentally different yet deeply interconnected. Dualism offers a different perspective. It challenges the notion that everything about us can be explained solely through physical processes. Instead, it suggests that there is a non-physical component to our being, something that cannot be fully understood through the study of the physical body alone. This perspective opens up a realm of possibilities and questions about the nature of consciousness, identity, and existence itself. It argues that the mind and the body are made of different substances. The mind, according to dualism, is an immaterial entity that cannot be reduced to physical components. This immaterial mind is responsible for our thoughts, emotions, and consciousness, while the body is the physical vessel that interacts with the material world. This distinction raises intriguing questions about how these two substances interact and influence each other. The body is physical, but the mind is non-physical and exists independently. This independence suggests that the mind has its own realm of existence, separate from the physical constraints of the body. It implies that our thoughts and consciousness are not merely byproducts of brain activity, but have an existence of their own. This idea has profound implications for our understanding of self and the nature of reality. This view was famously championed by philosopher René Descartes. Descartes' famous dictum cogito ergo sum, or I think, therefore I am, encapsulates the essence of dualism. He argued that the very act of thinking is proof of the existence of the mind as a separate entity from the body. Descartes' ideas laid the foundation for much of the subsequent philosophical debate on the nature of mind and body. Imagine a driver and a car. This analogy helps to illustrate the dualist perspective. The car represents the physical body, a complex machine that operates in the physical world. The driver, on the other hand, symbolizes the mind, the conscious entity that controls and directs the car's movements. The driver represents the mind and the car represents the body. Just as the driver can control the car, the mind can influence and direct the actions of the body. However, despite this control, the driver and the car remain distinct entities. The car cannot think or make decisions on its own. It requires the driver to give it direction and purpose. The driver can control the car, but they are separate entities. This separation highlights the dualist view that the mind and body, while interacting closely, are fundamentally different in nature. The mind's ability to think, reason, and experience emotions is not something that can be fully explained by the physical processes of the body alone. Similarly, dualism suggests that the mind interacts with the body, but isn't reducible to it. This interaction is a central puzzle for dualists. How does an immaterial mind influence a physical body? This question has led to various theories and debates, with some suggesting that the mind and body interact through a specific part of the brain, while others propose more abstract mechanisms. While dualism explains the distinct feeling of consciousness, it raises new questions. The sense of being a conscious, thinking individual is something that dualism seeks to explain. However, it also opens up new avenues of inquiry. If the mind is separate from the body, what happens to the mind after the body ceases to function? Can the mind exist independently of the body? And if so, what form does this existence take? How do the mind and body interact if they're made of different substances? This question remains one of the most challenging aspects of dualism. Despite centuries of philosophical debate, a definitive answer has yet to be found. The mystery of mind-body interaction continues to intrigue and perplex thinkers, leading to ongoing research and discussion in both philosophy and neuroscience. This interaction remains a mystery for dualists. The enigma of how two fundamentally different substances can influence each other is at the heart of the dualist perspective. As we continue to explore the depths of the mind and the complexities of the body, the quest to understand their relationship remains a fascinating and enduring journey. A universe of minds delving into panpsychism. Panpsychism offers a radical solution. Consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, present in everything to some degree. This idea challenges the traditional view that consciousness arises only in complex brains. Instead, it suggests that even the simplest forms of matter have some level of awareness. This means that consciousness isn't something that just appears when matter reaches a certain level of complexity, but rather it's a basic feature of the universe itself. Even particles like electrons or atoms possess a basic form of consciousness. This doesn't mean they think or feel like we do, but they have a rudimentary form of awareness. Imagine each particle having a tiny spark of consciousness, contributing to the larger tapestry of the universe's mind. Imagine a spectrum of consciousness. On this spectrum, different entities possess varying degrees of awareness. This spectrum ranges from the simplest particles to the most complex beings. The idea is that consciousness isn't binary, it's not just on or off. Instead, it's a gradient with different levels of awareness spread across the universe. At one end, we have simple organisms with basic awareness. These organisms might not have thoughts or emotions, but they respond to their environment in ways that suggest a form of primitive consciousness. For example, a single-celled organism might move towards light or away from harmful substances, indicating a basic level of awareness. Humans, with our complex thoughts and emotions, are further along the spectrum. Our brains allow us to experience a rich inner life filled with thoughts, feelings, and self-awareness. This complexity of consciousness is what sets us apart from simpler forms of life. However, according to panpsychism, this complexity is just a higher degree of the same fundamental consciousness that exists throughout the universe. Panpsychism suggests this spectrum extends even to seemingly inanimate objects. This means that objects we consider lifeless, like rocks or even stars, have some form of basic awareness. While this might seem far-fetched, it offers a way to think about consciousness that doesn't rely on the presence of a brain or nervous system. They might not be conscious in the same way we are, but they possess a basic form of awareness. This awareness is not about thoughts or feelings, but a fundamental property of being. It's a way to understand how everything in the universe is interconnected through this shared property of consciousness. While this might sound strange, panpsychism offers a way to integrate consciousness into our understanding of the universe without resorting to separate substances like dualism. Dualism posits that mind and matter are fundamentally different, leading to the hard problem of explaining how they interact. Panpsychism, on the other hand, suggests that consciousness is a fundamental aspect of all matter, providing a more unified view of the universe. This perspective can lead to new ways of thinking about the nature of reality, our place in the universe, and the interconnectedness of all things. And why understanding consciousness matters. Understanding consciousness isn't just an intellectual exercise. It has profound implications for many areas of our lives. For starters, it can help us better understand and treat mental illnesses. It can also inform our development of artificial intelligence. If we ever create machines with human-like consciousness, we need to know what we're dealing with. Most importantly, understanding consciousness can deepen our understanding of what it means to be human. It's at the core of our existence, shaping our experiences, values, and interactions with the world. The quest to understand consciousness is a journey into the deepest mysteries of the universe and ourselves. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.